Hello everyone, this is Dor. I want to start with a little story. When I was very young, about probably 4 years old, I got pissed off at my parents said something at the house. I don't remember what it was. And then I took an umbrella, which was the representation of a tent for me, and I took some clothes. I don't know what I took. I created like a little bundle of stuff for me, and I got outside of my house, and I went to the lawn outside my house, and I started my own house here. Like I started, I just almost ran away from my house. I was just 4 years old. I had no idea what I'm doing, but I just decided that I leave my house and I go start something else in our lawn, basically. And then the neighbors came out and they started to laugh at me. It's like, what are you doing? And it's like the couple that lived in front of us, and they made fun of me. And then my parents came out because they heard something is going on, and they kind of started to shout things at my parents and kind of to joke around with my parents in a sarcastic way. And I remember that I felt a lot of fear, and I felt embarrassed. I felt fear about what people think about me, and I felt angry at these people that are judging me, and I felt scared of what my parents are gonna do, if they're gonna punish me. And so after less than half an hour, this experiment was over, and I took my stuff. The feelings were too strong, the emotions. I couldn't really deal with that fear, and I just took my stuff and got back to the house. And I think ever since then I didn't really try to do it again as a kid. And at the same time, I had a lot of these experiences where I took my center, my energetic center, my authority, and I took them from my parents, and I took that back and I put it inside of me. And this is what this video is about, really. It's about how to take your center back from your family and put it back inside of you. And so I'm gonna talk a little bit about how it's been played out in modern culture, how you can do it for yourself, and how it may look like. Let's go. So how these things plays out in modern culture. For example, I go around the world, I travel a lot, and I meet people on traveling, on their journey. And some of them are just, quit their job and started traveling, or they took a break from work, or they finish university and they're going traveling, stuff like that. And when I meet them, it feels that they're on their journey. Yeah, they're on their adventure. They're experiencing new things. But as I talk to them a little bit, I always hear in the background there's some voices coming up. There's some shoulds. For example, you should find a job already. You should not spend too much time traveling. You should be not spending a lot of money. You should you should figure out what you want to do already with your life. And I don't know if it's familiar with you. Each one of us have different voices like this that we grew up with, and we adopted from the authority figures that were around us. Our parents, our teachers, sometimes even our gurus in a later age. And they travel, and they have and these people, I feel that there is a gap between where they want to be in their journey, what they're traveling for, and I make this suggestion: are you traveling for being an adventurer? Are you traveling to explore new things? Are you travel to get to know new cultures? And there's a gap between this thing that they're traveling for in their being, what they're really, their essence is about, between the way they're traveling is playing out. And this gap is about those voices. You should do that, you should learn something, you should find something to learn. What do you like? Don't waste time, don't try too many things. You need to focus on one thing. Money doesn't grow on trees. You know, all these voices create this gap between where they actually want to be to where they are. And this gap is really painful. I had this gap for many years. And for me the best way to describe it is like these authority figures that you grew up with, your parents, your teachers, in some way they're still in front of you. They're still in front of your face. And even though you're in the other side of the world traveling, these authority figures are in front of your face and you're interacting with them. Instead of seeing me clearly through the camera, for example, imagine you have a filter between us, and this is the filter. So how would I would be able to relate with you if I had this filter? How would I be able to listen to myself, to listen to my feelings? I would be able to make decisions as an adult if I have this filter. So that's what I see. People are going around the world and they have this filter around their eyes, which is basically their parents. They're still interacting with their parents, and sometimes even when they figure out all these amazing things in the trip, they learn about new cultures and they figure out new ways that they can relate and they can be. All they're thinking about is going back to their parents and tell that to their parents. They want to fix their parents. It's like that's what's in front of their eyes. They learn, they discover great stuff about themselves, and all they think, I need to go back and show that to my family, my sisters, my brothers, and there is something that is responsible about that. I mean, there is something about wanting to share your gifts and your discovery with people. But when you share that in a way that something is in front of your eyes and that's the only thing you can relate to, that's your only, you have one possibility, you're basically, what is this word, you're compulsive towards this thing that you cannot stop thinking about. That doesn't make it high level responsibility. It just makes it, you're trying to fix this thing that is here. And I get it. I mean, everyone we grew up, everyone we met in our life had this filter in front of their eyes. And my proposal is to do in this video is to do this. Take this filter from in front of your eyes and put it in your back. Take this and energetically put this in the back of you. So how do you really do it? So for example, when you take your center from your parents, energetically it feels like they're not here anymore. And there's a centering process that we do that can be a beginning, and you can watch it. I'll connect the video here. I basically take you through in this video how to do the centering process. So that can be one practice. There's a lot of process that you can do in this work called possibility management, that these processes are about taking your center back from your parents, like taking your balls back from your mother, taking your center from your father. And this processes helps to go on that. So in this video, you're not gonna really do those processes, and later you can research more about them. But what I really want to share with you this video is what is the benefit to do that, like what's behind on the other side when you do that. So your parents can come back, or your authority figures that you grew up with, they can come back and be in your support team. They can be in your ancestry, which means they're in your back, but they're in your support. Imagine like all these generations that were here in the world before you. They did so much for you. I don't know if you even realize that, but people fought almost every day for more consciousness or more awareness to more distinctions like human rights, to that every person is going to have like food security, or people fought to hold space for something else is possible than modern culture, something else is possible than church or than Rome, the Roman Empire. You know, there's a lot of people that fought and sacrificed their life for you to have that. And these people are in your ancestry, they're in your lineage, they're in your team. They took a stand for your life for you to be able to have more possibilities in your life, for example, and many other things. So this is a way that you can take the authority figures, your parents, and put them in your ancestry so they can support you. You know, they can be in your support team. And I feel sadness because what I see that mostly happen when people try to fix their parents or they try to make their parents understand something is just this constant resistance. There is a context war going on between the new context that you discover and the context of your parents. And there's like constant resistance and friction and low drama and like who's right, who's wrong, like trying to go back home and trying to convince your parents of some stuff, and it just create hell. And in a lot of families, it's really, if you're a sensitive person, it feels like hell to try to do that to your family. So I encourage you to not do that. I encourage you to not try to force your culture or whatever you think you find on your parents and try to change them, because even if you find something great, your parents didn't go through the same journey you did. They didn't have all this experience, they weren't abroad in this festival, in this workshop that discovered that. And so they didn't have this experience. So and when you go on trying to fix them, you try to land these distinctions in them, and it's just not going to work. And so, and there are ways actually to have culture-to-culture conversations. But the beginning of having a culture-to-culture conversation is not giving your center to anyone, which means you need to get this thing off your eyes. You need to have your clarity so you can have culture-to-culture conversations. And then again, why would you specifically want to do it with your parents? Is there some problem in them? Are they wrong about something? I mean, why would you want specifically to do it when you can take that energy and create culture-to-culture conversation with thousands of people that are waiting? They don't know what they don't know about, and they want you to bring those new conversations to them. But you don't do that. You choose to go home and talk to your parents about what you found. So I'm asking you, like, what is behind that? Is there any emotions behind that? And these emotions are doorways for emotional healing processes. And I talk more about emotional healing process in this video. I'm going to connect it so you can find that doorway too. So if you're getting this, it's not really about just people that travel. It's everyone, basically, in modern culture. We grow up with putting our parents in front of us. You know, I mean, I feel sad about it. People live their whole life still as a you know, still as a child, reacting towards its parent, like playing out life in front of, you know, these great people that did such a sacred thing and brought you to the world. But you know, your life is not, it's not about that. It's not about fixing them. It's not about, you have a mission, you have something in your life that is really great that you came here to deliver. You came here to do something for the world. You came here to deliver your mission, your adventure. And it's, most of the chances, it's not about them. It's not about fixing them. And so even if you're not traveling, if you're in modern culture, you have a job, or even, I don't know, if you're in high school, it's like there's there's a preparation to do to start shifting from that and going somewhere else, like changing your origin point from being a child that his parents are in front of them to being an adult, or not even an adult, like a full-grown adventurer, king or pirate, a warrior, a sorceress that is here to do something in the world, and the parents are in your support team. I want to share a little story about myself, another one. When I was very young, this story goes into the dynamic of how this thing happens, like how this thing look like. So I was about 4 years old, and I was playing in the playground of our kibbutz. It's like a big grass. All the kids are playing outside, and there was a guy, like a little boy. He was like 3 years older than me, or 4. He was always bullying me. He was like chasing after me, but he was just enjoy the abuse. He didn't really, he never like really hit me too hard or something like that. It was just enjoy the, the chase or something. So one day we were standing outside there in the yard, and he would start cursing me, but he cursed me in a way that I couldn't react to, because, he was 3 years older, and it's amazing in that age, those kids that 3 years older than you, they have much better language. They basically can control your mind, because they have, their language and their brain is a bit more developed. So he was using like curse words, but in a way that like doesn't get him in trouble because he's allowed to say it, but I couldn't not react. I was totally hooked by him, and I was just standing there like basically feeling helpless. So of course I went to my mother. I was this crybaby, and I went to my mother to protect me. So my mother was inside the dining room with all her friends in the table. I went there, and she was in the middle of a conversation, she was like, and I came, and I was doing that a lot, like crying, complaining. So I came to her, and I was like, this kid is bullying me, come help me, and something like that. And I think she didn't want to rescue me, so she kind of stayed in the conversation and just held my hand. And I remember that I grabbed her hand like this. So I was grabbing her hand, and I switched from come to help me, then I switched to I'm gonna hurt this kid. Like, I'm gonna curse him, I'm gonna fight him, I'm gonna do something that will get me in trouble with you. And basically I was trying to stop her from letting me loose. So I was grabbing her hand, and I was like, no, I'm gonna go. Don't try to stop me. Don't try, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna fight him. And she was like looking at me and laughing, because she realized that I'm the one that grabbing her hand. She was not grabbing my hand and trying to stop me. And she just did like this, and she said like, go do it. And I think my mother has this like a lot of great moments of initiations for me to grow up. So I think it was one of them, but I didn't realize that at the time. And I was just going out to this kid. I was going, I had all my courage. I was standing in front of him, and I was like, you motherfucker, like, fuck you, or something like that. I said words that are totally not allowed for me to say. And somehow my mother just came out in the same moment, and it was like, you're not allowed to say that, like, go back to the house, you're punished. Like, you're not going back, you're not allowed to play to the outside. It was like the worst, like for me it was the worst punishment ever. But and yeah, so I think it was the first time I stood up in front of like a big kid like that, and I did it several times then. And I think going back to my house then, I think it was one of these moments where my survival strategy for life, you can read about it in the strategy here, in this website here. Everyone have survival strategies. I think that's the moment where it shifted from being like a good boy to being a bad boy survival strategy. So you can read more about these survival strategies, but that's not the point of the story. Was how I did this. It's like I held her hands, like I held my parents' hand, and I was like, I'm gonna face the world. Don't try to stop me. I'm gonna face the world. I know what to do. And I think a lot of people are doing that. I think a lot of people are still grabbing to their parents, to their families, and try to face the world like that. And that's kind of disarming. It's kind of disabilitating. It's a disabilitating way to face the world, when you still try to grab that, you know, your parents. So I'm going to leave you with this story and a few more thoughts about, like, what is it like for you? What do you feel about what I shared? And I'm not trying to be right or wrong here. I'm just opening doors for people, and doors that I learned during the years. And if you want to learn more about these different kind of initiations and workshops and spaces that we are holding I mean my team and I, that we're holding for chances for you to tag Baker Center more, get your authority, get your agency for what you're here for, what you want to do, get more clarity about that. So you're welcome to message me and find out more. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to comment something, share something, and at least like and you know, subscribe to the channel. Click the bell there to get notified when you get more videos like this, so you can keep track. And thank you for watching. I appreciate your time, and keep going on your journey. If you're watching this, you're already on your steps there, so keep going, and talk to you soon. Thank you.